what do we have here? Looks like an old broke down Big Red. That thing is hurting. But I'll tell you, that is right up my alley. Man, am I ever excited about the 1985 250 Big Red. Back in the day, these things were the cream of the crop for the three-wheeler world. I mean, they weren't the fastest, but they were just a farm tough tool. And, you know, it had a remote start, it had the kickstart on it, so if your battery died, you just kicked it over. It was easy. It had the rear suspension, front suspension, and not to mention it had the big toolbox under the back rack. And also had a front rack and removable headlight, so that if you ever needed a light in the woods, you can actually pull the light off and shine it around on whatever you want to look at, I suppose. Yeah, this is just an iconic piece of history, if you ask me, and I'm really excited about this one. And I'm going to throw a few bucks at it. I'm going to keep it budget and just try to do everything manually by myself. But I think it's worth putting a few dollars into it just for, you know, just for what it is. Rip it all apart and then figure out a game plan from there, and then I guess we'll order some parts. Big red tank off, having a close look at it here, and as you can tell, there's been some patching. So that means this old tank is likely got some holes in it and some rust. You can actually see some leaking out right there. Okay, now we're gonna have a look inside the air box. Kind of the moment of truth. Hopefully there's no mice in here. Okay, it doesn't look great, but I've seen a lot worse than that. The filter is pretty ratty-tatty. There ain't much left of it. It needs a new one of those. Is the old air filter ever hurting? Okay, what's next? I'm thinking we should check for spark. Well, that's not good. That's likely why it's not starting. The boot fell right off. Okay, so I just grabbed the spark plug wire, and the boot came right off of the coil wire here. And I'm looking at the end of the coil wire, and there ain't much there. Get the focus or not. There we go. That bit of wire that you see sticking out is all that is supposed to be touching the inside of this here. And I'm not convinced that that was getting any contact. But nonetheless, I'm going to stick it back on and see if we get spark. Okay, so I look at that falling apart like that as a good thing. And I know you're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Well, here's why I think it's a good thing. If this machine died and they couldn't get it to start and this is all that's wrong with it, then things are looking up. But at a closer look, all that's really here is half of broken wire. So there's really not going to be much contact there, even if it was touching. I honestly don't think it'd be getting a really hot spark. So what I'm going to do is just set that aside, and I'm going to take this little piece of wire and I'm trim back the jacket on this wire just to expose a little bit more of the actual wire, and hopefully we get better contact, and then we'll check for spark. So to make life easier when I'm checking for spark, I got this little tool here. It looks like a spark plug, but it has a little clamp on it. And you just clamp that on the ground, so the engine of the motor, and stick that up in the spark plug boot, kick it over, and check for spark. It just beats trying to pull the spark plug out. Hold it there while you kick it over. So now that we know that our coil is good, we're going to go ahead and pull that spark plug out and just have a look at the condition of that spark plug. She's pretty black and sooty, but if you look close, real close, inside, it actually doesn't look that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up, stick it back in. And just go in here. I just folded it over and I'm just sliding it between the electrode and the grounding bar there. And just slide it back and forth a few times. You don't need to go crazy with that. We just need to get a couple of clean surfaces. I got a little bit of old fuel. There's really not much in this jug. Well, that was more than I wanted. Awesome. All right, you heard it yourself. It fired right up. Didn't hear any banging, smashing, valves clapping. nothing like that. It actually started. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right. So we got lucky so far. There's life in the motor. You know, it could have been just as simple as that. The spark plug wire let go and maybe they gave up on it. Who knows? Or there's something else that we haven't came across yet. Nonetheless, I think what I'm going to do from here is I was going to tear it all down and, you know, go through it all, blah, whatever. But I think what I'm going to do, since the gas tank is pooched, it's full of holes, that's going to have to get repaired, probably going to be on a separate video. I think what I'm going to do for today is, the curiosity is just killing me. I think I'm going to just get a little makeshift gas tank. Okay, so we needed a makeshift gas tank. So what I did was I took an old jug, old gear oil jug, and it has that little cone cap on it. And I washed it out obviously, and I'm just going to stand it up after I pick it up off the ground. Just going to stand it up like this and fill it with gas, poke a hole in the top, and then see if we can get this thing to start. That's a choke right there. Brakes, choke. Let's pull the choke, see what happens. Running for a couple of minutes now. There's no smoke. It's idling. But if you listen close, a runner. Can you imagine that? Broken spark plug wire and quick fix there, put some gas in it, kick it over, what, 5 times? And it starts, runs and idles. It was a little, you know, I had to choke it to keep it running, but after it warmed up, I let the choke out and it idled just fine. You saw me with the pry bar on my ear listening is what I was doing, listening for any noisy spots in the engine, because I could hear a pretty good tick, I suppose you would say, and it kind of pinpointed it down to the exhaust valve. So we're gonna pop the cover off of that and have a look at it later. But as for now, it's alive again already, just like that, and I barely tore it apart. It shows great potential. I went through all the gears, 1 through 5 are all there. Reverse is there. It needs a ton of things. You know, it could use, well, let's go through them real quick, what it does need. Here's our list. Okay, for starters, the reverse cable and the choke are not hooked up to anything. Okay. We have no side panel. We got no seat. We need a new spark plug wire for sure. We need more lug nuts for the tires because I don't have any. This fender is totally gone. It's busted completely. The toolbox is good and the rack is alright. The rear end seems to be solid. The exhaust isn't bad. You know, it needs a new air filter because that one is toast. It's done. What else? Yeah, we got some jerry rigged right here. A stone. Looks like it's really wedged in there. But the brakes are not hooked up whatsoever. They're not in their holders. The brakes should go through these 2 little holes right here. That's what holds the casing back, and they're just totally out. So they get the brake is all wired up just to keep it from dragging, I would suppose. And I see something else. Right in here, there's a hose clamp. Well, under that hose clamp is supposed to be a bolt. Right there. So that's got to be, it's broke off, I can see. But it has to be drilled out, retapped, and put a new bolt in it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of other miscellaneous things that it could use, but as for starting and running, oh, right, we need a new gas tank. This one is pooched. Totally rotten. Done deal. And, yeah, just like the air filter. The air filter is no good. It's literally falling in pieces. So there's a bit of our list to start. And we'll see what happens. Well, I'm all out of time for today, but we did manage to get together a nice little list of parts that we need for the 1985 250 Big Red. This will be a bit of a series build-up to get the Big Red back on the trail to be a mean machine again. And hopefully you have as much interest in this machine as I do, and you stick around and you watch the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.